When they censor Judicial Watch, they are censoring you as well, because I know as a listener and a follower of Judicial Watch, you rely on our information. You want to see it every week. And when you're deprived of it, it shows you that the censorship is targeting you as well, because it prevents you from gaining access to information and views and ideas. And frankly, from the case of Judicial Watch, we tell you what the government's up to. First up, I want to talk about censorship. We've been censored by YouTube. They deleted a Judicial Watch post featuring little old me talking about Biden corruption and election integrity. And YouTube said, and they falsely accused us of spreading election misinformation. It was not election misinformation. YouTube knows better, I believe. And in my view, they've taken the position that anyone who raises the wrong types of questions about elections are going to be censored. And the wrong types of questions about elections are questions Democrats don't like, Joe Biden doesn't like, and the left doesn't like. It's a partisan ideological effort to censor groups and individuals who raise questions about elections. And in my view, it's inappropriate. They're engaged in fraud because they're telling people they're doing it for one reason when in fact they're doing it for another. And in the case of Judicial Watch, they locked us out of our account with no warning for 7 days. So you may be seeing this video on YouTube. I hope I didn't say anything to get us struck again, get a strike against us again. I'm sure my colleagues here will start waving their hands if I say something wrong. But that's the reality of being online these days. If you're going to be on the major big tech platforms, and we are going to be on the major big tech platforms, there's going to be this censorship and this suppression and oppression. And I'm glad Elon Musk is taking over Twitter, or at least last I checked, he was taking over Twitter. There's been a little bit of a pause in that business transaction because Twitter may be engaged in fraud itself again. But he's committed to free speech, but the left is opposed to free speech. Biden is opposed to free speech, and big tech is opposed to free speech. Now, YouTube is, we're told, when they do this censorship, they have a right to do it because they're a private company. First of all, that's not necessarily correct as a matter of law. And B, we found it to be false as a matter of fact. Because previously, Judicial Watch took down another election video where I was talking truthfully and accurately about election issues that we had, not election issues, but we were cleaning up the rolls in California. And the California Secretary of State's office told them to take down our video, and they did. So there you have a government big tech partnership program to censor the views of Americans. It is anti-First Amendment, it's anti-constitutional, and Judicial Watch is not going to back down. I don't know what, I do know why the left hates Judicial Watch. I do know why the left hates me, and I do know why they want to censor our speech. But they have to follow the law, or they should be required to follow the law. And when they say they are censoring someone because of, quote, misinformation, that's a slander and a smear typically. They're doing it for politics. And Congress doesn't want to fix the law to protect the rights of Americans online. The courts don't want to apply the law correctly because they say that Section 230 allows them to censor people with impunity generally, and it doesn't. So it's going to be up to either groups like the businessmen and the folks around President Trump creating Truth Social, these alternative platforms such as Getter and Parler and Telegram, and thankfully a public-minded businessman like Elon Musk buying Twitter and implementing at least more free speech online. And I'm not naive. I don't know if Elon Musk is going to do everything exactly right to expand speech online. But the fact that the left is so angry about the idea that there'll be more free speech tells you everything you need to know about where they stand in terms of our freedom of speech and our First Amendment protections. And the Biden administration has yet to pull back from its Ministry of Truth operation. The person they hired to run it is still there, and she's still going to be pushing for censorship and regulation of big tech. And you can bet that the leftists in Congress are going to push that as well. So this is something we need to be aware of. And let me tell you this, when they censor Judicial Watch, they are censoring you as well, because I know as a listener and a follower of Judicial Watch, you rely on our information. You want to see it every week. And when you're deprived of it, it shows you that the censorship is targeting you as well, because it prevents you from gaining access to information and views and ideas. And frankly, from the case of Judicial Watch, we tell you what the government's up to. So this is necessarily a pro-government, anti-citizen censorship program run by YouTube. Twitter still does it. Facebook still does it. And this is what they do. They censor, they vandalize. And by vandalize, I mean they falsely label material as being suspect, which A, gives pause to people reviewing it, and B, makes it more difficult to share it. And then, of course, the worst thing they do is they say something is false and then completely suppress and smear the person who created it. So this is something that is an ongoing threat to our freedom. And as I said to the media about this, Judicial Watch is not only not going to back down, but we have to recognize that the attack on the attack on Judicial Watch is just a further example of how big tech remains an enemy of the First Amendment. Our friends at Heritage Foundation, they had a video taken down as well just last week. So the big tech suppression is accelerating, and of course it's just in time for election season, right? So they are suppressing content that the left doesn't like as they seek to obtain, retain, and increase power. So this is a major threat to not only our First Amendment rights, but it's outright election interference to advance the political agenda of the Democrats and Joe Biden. And and if you watch me for any lengthy period of time, I'm not partisan. I'm concerned about ideology. I'm concerned about educating people about what the government's up to, irrespective of party. But to be clear, the interest here is a partisan interest. So it's not just left. They want to advance Democrat interests, and I call it as I see it. But Judicial Watch, we're not going to back down. We're going to keep on standing strong for the rule of law, for your right to know. We're going to be litigating in court still, and we're still going to be educating you everywhere we can and anywhere we can about the important issues that we care about in terms of fighting government corruption, exposing government wrongdoing, and as I said, educating people about what their politicians are up to. And there's I don't remember, maybe it's a Madison quote. And I'm going to misquote him a little bit, so I may be misnaming the originator of this quote, and I may be misquoting the actual statement. But the quote is something like, the people have a right, a God-given indisputable right to know, and it's a right that's awful in scope, in the sense that you may not want to know, about the conduct and the character of their rulers. And the left opposes that, because the left is the party of government, and today's left is the party, in my view, of communism, which is totalitarian, which is why we're seeing this broad attack on speech. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and like our video down below.